What's up YouTube? I'm William Bitter and this is my channel Money Thoughts. Money Thoughts. In today's episode, I'm going to talk about Turo, my experience being a host on Turo, and why I'm done hosting on Turo, or why I stopped hosting on Turo months ago. I signed up to be a Turo host January this year to justify the purchase of a brand new Tesla Performance Model 3. You know, I ran the numbers and I was actually super excited and confident that this would have a huge ROI and that I would essentially be able to easily pay off this car hosting on Turo. Check out the video that I posted when I first started hosting on Turo. You can see how excited I was. And I share some of my numbers of the first few months of hosting as well. Yeah, so I quickly found out it's not all rainbows and butterflies. And in this video, I'm gonna share a little bit of my experience and who I think Turo is right for as a host, and to caution a lot of people that plan on getting into Turo as a side hustle. If you're considering hosting on Turo, I definitely recommend giving this a listen, and I'll try to get right to the point. All right, so my primary kind of beef with Turo is that their damage plans or their protection plans are extremely deceiving, and in my opinion, they're basically worthless. Turo will do everything in their power to basically not pay out a claim. I mean, they'll make you hold on the phone for hours over and over again just to talk to someone, give you like weird workarounds. They'll basically kind of train. I mean, this is all my opinion, by the way, and my experience, but it seems to me like they kind of train you into this feeling of, okay, if there's some kind of damage, even if you have the completely comprehensive plan that should cover everything, even like a scratch that costs $200 to fix, they will basically make it so psychologically, it'll just be easier to just, if it's something under $500, you'll just be like, screw it, I'm gonna pay the $500 because I don't want to deal with Turo's customer service, because it'll be, weeks and weeks of calling them, being on hold, fighting for your cause just to get a few $100s. It's not worth it. And I truly believe, like, just the feeling that I get dealing with them is that is part of their strategy, which to me is a big red flag. I just feel like their practices are a little bit shady. So I quickly learned that the comprehensive plan is not all that it's cracked up to be. They just make the process of doing a claim so unbearable. Another aspect of the protection plan is that if you don't take extremely comprehensive pictures at least 24 hours before a booking and within 24 hours after a booking, if there's any damages that are done and you don't have those pictures in those time slots, then you're basically not covered at all. Your personal insurance won't work because you're using your car doing Turo, and the Turo protection plan is gonna say nope. And so yeah, that means that essentially if someone kind of like, I don't know, were to total your car and somehow like get it, leave it, and you didn't have, something came up and I don't know, you had to go to the hospital or whatever, and you didn't manage to get photos of your car right after a trip ended, and you came to a like totally destroyed car, I mean, my understanding is you'd just be totally screwed. And yeah, and that, that's a lot of stress, So yeah, I think there's a lot of these underlying costs associated with being a Turo host that, I didn't quite factor in my calculations. My experience doing it is I would be so obsessed with taking these before and after pictures. I'd take 30 to 40. Sometimes I think I took like 50 photos before and after. And I would still end up having the car returned with some random weird little piece of damage, or like some little, a spill inside of one of the compartments that has like a little velvet or something. There'd be these little things that I wouldn't photograph. So there'd be little spots that I'd miss, or the lighting in one of my photos didn't quite, to Turo's expectations, capture that there was no damage there, even though, like, in my opinion, I'd say, hey, look, there's no damage there. And they would deny a claim based on the lighting or the angle. And sometimes, I would feel that I'm right, but just the back and forth dealing with Turo, it's like, what can you do? Like, do I take them to small claims court? Like, there's not a lot of options for me. I mean, at one point, I had someone return a car with an egg that had been thrown at the back of the trunk. And when I went to take pictures, I said, okay, there's egg, like there's a splattered eggshell with like egg dripping down my trunk. And, I cleaned it. And of course, it's like, I spent hours cleaning this egg off to find that there's some chips in the paint. And I had the comprehensive plan. I had the comprehensive protection plan of my car, which is where I give them the largest chunk of my earnings, 40%. And still, I had a before picture of the trunk and it was perfectly clear, but I guess the lighting wasn't good enough that like it didn't fully capture that there was no scratch on the back of my trunk. Even though I showed after pictures that were super clear of like an egg like explosion on the back of my trunk with little like scratches from where the eggshell had hit. But because the scratches were so tiny, they denied my claim outright, even though anyone with common sense, and I would think even a judge, would look at that and say, yeah, the car was damaged, under the renter's care, But they denied my claim, and I spent hours and hours, days and days back and forth emailing them. And, I just think it's really shady and it's really messed up that they didn't pay out. And there were many instances like this, actually. So, I mean, the amount of time and energy just doing the before and after pictures and cleaning and making sure that you spot, if there is some damage and you don't spot it within 24 hours and document it, then you're basically... then that damage is there and you're not covered for it, So it's a little, stressful, to be honest. So yeah, there's a lot of these unexpected, huge costs, huge portions of wear and tear in your vehicle that you might not take into your calculations, especially if you're just going off of reading their protection plan, which sounds all above board and nice and reassuring on their website. But I just hope that you'd watch, someone like me talk about their real experience dealing with the protection plans of Turo. And then I guarantee you, just Google, I don't know, denied claims, Turo claims, and you'll see all sorts of stuff on the internet of horrible experiences and other people that, were denied just like me. There's another tactic that Turo will use, and it'll be like some minor damage. If you have the comprehensive protection plan, like you want to report all the damage, but there'll be something so small and you'll say, hey, look, there's damage. And then they'll actually delist your car instantly. So all your upcoming trips are gone. Everyone that was booked is gone. And they will say, we're not going to relist your car until you fix the car. To which you would say, okay, well, I should have full comprehensive protection plan. So like, you guys should pay for this because I'm paying 40% of my revenue to Turo for this comprehensive protection plan. To which they'll say, oh, well, actually, even though there's this gouge in the tire and this huge scrape all over your wheel, there was actually a tiny little scratch on the other side of your wheel that was already there. So it would cost the same amount to fix your wheel now as it did before. So this pre-existing damage will just totally, it'll just invalidate your claim completely, which to me is crazy because it's like, well, if there's a tiny scratch on the door and then someone like keys the crap out of the door, is that really not going to be covered? Like, it's new damage, and before the damage may have been not very visible at all, and now there's like super visible damage, and it'll be like pre-existing scratch that like you didn't even notice, or it'll be in the before pictures and they'll use it against you. But the tactic of delisting your car instantly kind of like instills in this it's like this weird psychology that they like. It's almost like you're like, I'm not going to make a claim ever with Turo because it's so much work to file the claim, and they're probably going to deny it. And not only that, they might delist your vehicle and you might lose out all your potential revenue. So they really make it never make sense for you to make a claim with them, which to me just, it's like, why even offer a protection plan? And I'm getting a little heated because, it's really, if they would have just put in their protection plan, like, go fuck yourself, then that would have been fine. And I'm like, okay, like, I'll get my own, I'll file an LLC, put my car in an LLC and get my own commercial insurance. But like, to have Turo kind of have these nicely laid out protection plans and then totally do everything in their power to not protect your vehicle, to me is, it's pretty shady. So yeah, definitely beware if you have any minor scratches. I don't know, like, I guess fix them, because if there's any little damage in an area, someone can totally damage that area completely and Turo won't cover it. So anyway, so now we've covered their protection plan and why it's basically a crock of shit. Okay, so when you're deciding whether or not to be a Turo host, I think it's really important to understand what the ROI is going to be. So you really need to understand, like, okay, if you're renting out a car on Turo as a host, how much does that car cost and what does it return? But also, like, how much time and energy are you putting into that investment? Because if you consider the initial cost of your vehicle as well as all the time and energy managing the rental business, which is essentially at all hours of the day, someone, you might get a call saying your car got a flat tire and it's at this body shop in the middle of, another state, So there's a layer of work and full-time kind of labor and, which goes into any business that you're running. However, if you're just trying to have a little side hustle, where you rent your car for a week when you go on vacation, like, these are things to really consider. I think people don't fully understand the opportunity cost of running a car rental business on Turo. I mean, many Turo hosts report profits, but they're not actually taking into consideration their own personal maintenance and personal insurance, because they figure I'm already paying that for my personal car anyway. However, if you're renting your car out on Turo, it's no longer your personal car, it's an investment. You can't use it all the time because it's being rented out. So you really have to take, all the costs of owning that vehicle now that it's an investment, and you have to expense that as part of your cost of doing business. You can't just say, oh, my car is making me $500 a month, when really, just to put your car in the garage and pay insurance and maintenance is $1,000 a month. So your $500 a month profits is actually a $500 a month loss. Even though, yes, you can drive your own vehicle sometimes, so I think a lot of people are doing their math incorrectly, and a lot of people are making money on Turo and they are doing well and they're doing the math correctly. Let's dive into like what the opportunity cost of doing Turo really is. Perhaps someone buys a $30,000 car, and this car, after all the expenses, is profiting $500 a month, which sounds great. $500 a month profit, that's like $6,000 a year. That's like a 20% return on investment, right? Great. However, if they had taken that same $30,000 and put it in the stock market where they don't have to do anything, the average annual return for this S&P 500 is about 10%. So that would be like $3,000 a year, or like $250 a month. Just instead of buying a car, for just investing in the stock market, $250 a month. And then if they took that same time and energy that they're using to manage their rental business around the clock, they would only have to work like 10 hours a month, or like one long day a month, to make the same, $25 an hour at 10 hours is like another $250 a month. So they could make the same amount of money just investing that money and working 10 hours a month, than they are buying the car, investing in the car, and working around the clock all month long, being on call at any given point and having to do all these, exchanges and cleaning, which, a lot of Turo hosts aren't really quantifying the amount of time cleaning the car, flipping it, photos, dealing with claims, answering guests' questions. Like, it's an around-the-clock business. Even if you just have one car, you're constantly on call. I would much rather work 10 hours a month and just invest my money in the stock market. But that's me personally. And I just think this kind of shows you this is just one example that would show you the opportunity cost of just investing in something else and putting your time somewhere else besides being a Turo host. But I think a lot of people get excited about being a Turo host because they have a car already or they like cars. But I just think there's way better opportunities out there other than Turo. And I think, if most Turo hosts are completely honest with themselves, a lot of them, at least the small-time Turo hosts, the individuals like me, the people that don't know a lot about cars, that don't have 10 cars, that aren't mechanics, that don't own car dealerships, a lot of them are just breaking even. So it's a lot of work, especially psychological stress and like emotional work, to run a Turo business just to break even, just to like have a car that looks cool, maybe that you don't really have because it's constantly rented out, and it's more of a liability than an asset to you. I also think like peace of mind is something that's really, really hard to quantify when you're doing your return on investment spreadsheet. So I think like the fact that at any point you can your car can get wrecked and it's a whole process to go through. I just think peace of mind, like one of the main reasons I took my car off Turo is, maybe I was making like $500 a month or really break even, somewhere between break even and possibly $500 a month, but I would gladly forego $500 a month to just not have to work and have peace of mind and just enjoy my vehicle. So I just decided to stop doing Turo. I do still believe that the numbers kind of worked out to the point where I could have paid for my vehicle over the course of 5 years. But what I didn't account for was the amount of time and energy that I would have to put in order for my vehicle to pay for itself over the course of 5 years. And I really value my time and energy and around the clock peace of mind. Essentially, a $70,000 vehicle paying for itself over the course of 5 years is like $1,000 a month. But I would gladly forego $1,000 a month to enjoy my vehicle and have peace of mind and not be working around the clock. I make $1,000 a month doing something else that's more enjoyable. So that's me personally, and that's essentially why I am done with Turo. It doesn't justify the amount of time and energy, and especially the Turo protection plan was like an aspect of it that I took at face value, and I didn't read the terms and conditions. And so that was my mistake. So, if you ever join the Turo Facebook groups, they're all going to basically shit all over you and say like, read the terms of conditions, prepare for your car to get wrecked, for Turo to not deny your claims. They all know this, and this is part of the stress dealing with the business. And a lot of them have embraced it, and they're passionate like about their businesses, and there are people out there that are making a lot of money doing Turo. So the people that I think Turo is for, it's the people that are truly passionate about starting a car rental business, people that are going to form an LLC. They're going to get their own commercial insurance for their vehicles. All their vehicles are going to be under their LLC. They're ready to dedicate, full-time running their Turo business. This isn't a side hustle for them. They probably already have a car dealership or car rental business already, or they already have a few cars already. Someone that like knows a mechanic, their cousin's a mechanic, or they have a friend that owns a body shop. Like these are the kinds of people, that like really understand cars, that know how to go to a car auction and get like a really good deal, like the type of people that can like buy a car at a discount because they really understand cars and like flip it for a profit. Those are the types of people that are totally killing it at Turo. And so I think it's definitely possible, and it is a business that you can succeed at. But I think for the average like Joe Schmo, the average me, you know, like that's like I did Airbnb and I'm doing really well with Airbnb, and I don't know a lot about home ownership, and the numbers just work out way better. Where Turo, I feel like you really have to be, you really have to know what you're doing. I think if you're just gonna have it as a side hustle, just dabbling in Turo, and it's not gonna be your full-time passion and business, then yeah, I think Turo is probably not for you, or at least before you take that leap into being a Turo host, I would watch a lot of YouTube videos and really do your research and understand the protection plans, the terms of service. And I don't know, good luck to you, but I just advise extreme caution before you take the plunge into being a Turo host. You know, as soon as I stopped being a Turo host, yeah, life has been great. And so anyway, in conclusion, you know, I think everyone should just do their own homework. This is my experience with Turo. And, you know, I think Turo does make sense for someone that plans on starting their own car rental business. And this business will be their passion and their life. The numbers seem to work much better if you know a lot about cars, if you know, have your own mechanic, know how to get super good deals on used cars at car auctions, already own a car dealership, already own a body shop, you know, or at least know a mechanic, have a friend that owns a body shop, so you're not paying market rate for maintenance. But I think the average person, they're not gonna be earning a living on Turo unless they go all in and really start a car rental business. So, you know, if you're ready to, if your passion is starting a car rental business, then props to you, go for it. Unfortunately, to me, it feels like Turo is kind of taking advantage of the average person that is putting their car on their platform. And I think a lot of Turo hosts, it takes them a few years to realize that they're really not making very much money, especially given the time and energy that they're putting into it. Because they might see some money coming in, but then they're not really seeing the depreciation in their vehicle until a couple years go by, or they're not really calculating in the amount of time and energy that they're putting into it until they realize that they haven't been spending a lot of time on their other side hustles or working their other jobs, or, you know, their other sources of income are dwindling because they've been putting so much time and energy into running their Turo business, which for the same time and energy might not have the same return as all these other opportunities. This is my take on it, and you know, to me, this isn't the most exciting video. Like, this wasn't the video that I was most excited to make, but I know a lot of you guys that had watched my previous Turo videos were wondering, hey, what happened to Turo? Why aren't you doing Turo? Or like, how are your profits on Turo? And you know, I just felt like it was kind of like I needed to do a public service announcement, kind of like explaining like why I stopped doing it. You know, I've been road tripping with a mattress in the back of my car, and to me, that's a way better use of my vehicle than making a little bit of money on Turo. And so yeah, so this, you know, I'd much rather do a video about like why I love my Tesla Performance Model 3, or a video on like, you know, why I think Tesla stock is like the most exciting investment of our lifetimes, of my lifetime so far, at least. But I guess those will have to come next. But I felt like this video was due, and I hope you guys got something out of this. I didn't get into too many details about all my Turo experiences, but I hope you got like a gist of it and you could take something from this. And this is part of the journey, is like, you know, you don't know until you go, and sometimes you have to like try new things and put yourself out there and try new ways of making money and investing. Anyway, so I hope you guys enjoyed hearing about my experience, and if you like this kind of content, don't forget to smash the like button down there and subscribe, and stay tuned for more. All right, peace out, guys.
Save and invest your money.